Sunday, 4th of August 2022. In this Skidmark, I'm going to talk about the way I see our future. I'm not a guy that will terrorize people with Bible punching, things like that, because I'm a firm believer that you are entitled to your own opinions, and if you have the information, you can make the choices and make the decisions, and then you'll have to live with your choices and your decisions. We are sitting in a society, actually not a society, in a world where if you are critical and objective, you are seeing the collapse of the Western Empire. And what amazes me the most is the speed at which this is happening. I didn't think it would happen so quickly. But let's step back a bit. After the Second World War, the men came back home to their different countries and they started working to create a better life for themselves and for their families. And that was the general thing. And it was that generation that changed the world the most. That was the generation that brought us amazing advancement. And we saw poor people raising themselves up into the middle class. But while the decent people, and I'm calling them the decent people, while the decent people were working, focusing on their families, and making a better future for their children, a fucking sick breed started developing amongst us. Today we call them politicians. And they are professionals. They are people with university degrees in useless shit. Humanities is what they call it. Fuck that. It's all dreams, that. But these professional politicians, while the decent people were focused on working and bettering their lives, these politicians were planning. They started off with a drive to get women into the workplace. By that, they left the children to the state in the schools and so forth. So the children were easy prey for indoctrination, and the women has become objects that generated tax. Over the years, we saw things change. Single mothers, something that in my young days were totally unacceptable. Divorce became acceptable. Cheating on your spouse became acceptable. And then they started brainwashing us to accept these gender-confused fuckers. And we were told that we must accept the fact that there are people that don't eat like normal people, the vegetarians and the vegans. And then this gay thing started becoming prominent in public, and we were told that we need to tolerate them for their choices. But they infected our churches, they infected our lives, and pretty soon this professional politician cabal started laying down rules to give these gender-confused fuckers special rights. And something that did not belong in a normal, functioning, God-fearing society was all of a sudden the rage. And while this deterioration in good values happened in the West, the decent people did not realize what the hell they are actually planning for all of us. And we just focused on making our lives better. And here in 2022, we're sitting with a situation that a cretin like this can sit on a public stage and say, we just don't need the vast majority of the population in today's world. Now, what the actual fuck is that? How is it possible that that man can sit on an international stage and say something like that? In the 40s, 50s, he would have been in deep shit. He wouldn't last the day. And then we get this. The WEF speaking about recalibration in human rights as if they were voted in or did anything to earn the right to rule others. I've got news for this poster. The WEF has got an enormous amount of power. Power that they just took, and the decent people didn't pay attention. And this WEF was the driving force behind the pestilence and all the horrors that were poured out on the populations. We are tolerating this shit. That is why we are prey. And then we get this. We've been trained to worry about Russian propaganda while drowning us in US propaganda. The only difference between the Russian state media and US state media is that the Russian state media is honest about what it is. And that is so true. But the decent people allowed these politicians to take control over our lives, and they have basically got free rein today. They do what they like. I mean, the latest speech from Biden in that absolute satanic backdrop should make every decent person sit up straight and take note. And then there is this. Controlled demolition of the West. Europe's energy crisis is tipping legions of small businesses over the edge. A world without small businesses is a world dominated and controlled by global corporations. And he stands on an international platform and says that, and we just accept this shit. Most of us think, that's a little bit far-fetched, but that's the reality. And if we don't wake up, we're doomed. With a scamdemic, the middle class and the small businesses were destroyed and destructed at a rate that I never in my life imagined would be possible. And within a matter of months, they have destroyed that basis. They've ripped that out of society. These guys are evil and they will destroy us. They've said it. They don't make threats, they make promises. And that is what we have. And then you get something like this. German minister vows to back Ukraine no matter what voters think. US and its vassals are despotic. Peer acceptance and self-gain trumps the need of their own people. Narcissists so addicted to power they lack empathy, conscience, imagination and shame. And that was that Briekmerke woman from Germany that said this. And the German people, they hear it. They just sit and they do nothing about it. They just accept it. We've allowed these fringe weirdos, the greenies, the vegans, the vegetarians, the homosexuals, the gender confused. We've allowed that absolute fringe elements of society. They are less than 2% of the total society, but they've got all the power and they get everything they want, and the masses follows like sheep. And then you get this idiot. Boris Johnson exemplifies just how out of touch European leaders are as he advises Brits crushed under the high energy prices to just buy a newer kettle. How did this happen? How did this happen? It happened over a period of time because the decent people were working and focused on their families, and these political cretins just took control and they have all the power now. And it is unfortunately the reality. If decent people want to survive, they will have to stand up and fight for their survival. Now, fortunately, your opponents is a lot of soy boys, gender confused shit. They don't know the difference between a man and a woman, so they won't know the front end and the rear end of a gun. Then you get something like this. 3 weeks left. These products may disappear from stores in Poland. Country that loves to press NATO Article 5 button for everything may soon have to shut down food production lines, says Polish media outlet, adding that the shortage of gases like nitrogen used for cleaning and other purposes caused by high natural gas prices in Poland could result in worst-case scenarios, causing a lack of food products like meat in as soon as 3 weeks, leaving the Polish market vulnerable to foreign manufacturers. And the people allowed this cock to happen. The people of the European Union allowed this to happen. They allowed that crazy bitch, von der Crazy, to start that sanction war against Russia, and then that is now wiping out European society and businesses. And the people in Europe is going to freeze and they're going to starve. And it is their leadership that did it to them. And the leadership did it because the people allowed them to do it. I don't care what you call me. Put it in the comments, whatever you want to. The fact of the matter is, if the decent people in Europe does not stand up and physically remove these political cretins from society, the whole of Europe is doomed. Right in front of our eyes, Europe is turning into a socialist bloc with all the power focused in Brussels, in the hands of unelected officials. Let that sink in. And then you have this. Absolutely nothing to see here. And then it's graphs showing you food processing plants, grain silo fire, destroyed cattle, poultry, hogs, warehouse fires, feed processing plants, hectares lost. Look at that. This WEF cabal is planning major famine, because if you are dependent on them to feed you, you will listen to what they tell you to do and you will follow them. That is the way. That is how they control you. First they wiped out the businesses, the small businesses, and now they're going to wipe out the food supply. And that will give them total control over you. All over Germany, farmers are protesting against government policies that threaten their livelihoods. These processes are happening across Europe and we are largely ignored by the legacy media. Yes, it's ignored by the legacy media. It's not ignored. They are instructed not to print it. This is why channels like mine is a minuscule little channel, but it is people like me that are telling these things to the people, let them listen. I listened to a debate last night on Gonzalo Lira's channel, and it was the last words from the one guy was, find your tribe. And that is a lot of truth in there. We will need to find people that we can depend on, because this struggle against this political cabal takeover of our lives is going to be brutal. Brutal. They are fucking powerful and they've got a lot of money. But it's going to be necessary if humans, decent people, want to survive. You have got an option if you're in Europe. You can immigrate to Russia. There you will find there's no gender confusion there. There's no shortage of food, there's no shortage of energy, and decent family values are supported by the state. So you guys there in Europe, you've got an option. Jump the fence, go to Russia. And then you get shit like this. Vegan activist, Tash person joins PETA for human meat tray, animal rights protest. Look at that cock. Look at it. My grandfather will spin in his grave when he sees something like that. And there's more. This guy reckons, am I wrong assuming that this is grass-fed? Yeah. And then there is this. This is what leftist progressive males look like. If you don't see freaks, you are the problem. And that is the truth. If you don't see freaks, you are the problem. And look at this shit. What the fuck is wrong with these people? This should be banned, never mind celebrated. Look at that. And it is happening in the streets in our faces. This will not happen in Russia. It will not happen there. And as Putin has said, he will not have to do anything. The society, the population will sort this shit out. Look at that. This thing, it's a thing. This thing is the head of nuclear waste management in the Biden shithouse management team. America is in deep trouble. Look at this. Go to hell, I want nothing to do with LGBTQ, and then carries on. Freaks, gays and lesbians. Look at that. How the fuck can that child be exposed to this? This is absolutely unacceptable to decent people. And then we've got this. Serbia today, 100,000 people march in Belgrade to preservation, traditional family, religion, identity and traditional moral values. Event censored by the European media. Yes, it will be censored because this is dangerous to the cabal. I say again, find your tribe. And then you get this. And this is sickening, and this is the political leaders. The leader of Canada, the leader of France. What the fuck is that? And then there's this sobering thing. Life expectancy plummets again. The average American's life expectancy notably dropped between 2019 and 2021. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention revealed in a report published on Monday. Yes, now they say this. The reality is the American people must sit down and think, why the fuck did this happen? I can tell you one thing. Your government cabal is pumping billions of dollars into useless wars around the globe, and nothing is spent on your society. Your education system is fucked. Look at what is happening in your schools. Children are taught to hate America and that men can have babies. In the rest of the world, children goes to school, and what is disturbing is they focus on science and engineering degrees. China is producing hundreds of thousands of engineers and scientists every year. What does American schools produce? Gender-confused little idiots, soy boys. That's your future. And then there's this. Look at what this thing is doing to that police woman. I can tell you now, when I was a young guy, in my young days, that man would not have dared to do it. He wouldn't have dared to do it. And if he was stupid enough to do that, he would have been flattened there on the spot by whoever saw it, not taking a fucking video of it. And here is some truth. In a world built on lies, only the truth is censored. And that is very, very true. And then you get this idiotic statement. Germany has a disgusting white majority society. And it is said by this woman, which is apparently a German because she's in the German Greens political party. Germany, you better wake up. This is what you have bred. You have bred this. And they are now planning to destroy you. And then we get this shit. 2 videos posted within a couple of hours of each other. I mean, you tell me what's going on here. That is clearly not the same fucking man. It is not the same man. But where is the media? Where is the media in investigating what the hell is going on here and telling them, no, they just shut up because they have built a society of sheep over many years and they are happy you will eat anything they feed you. Anything. You don't believe your own eyes. That is how far down the gutter we are already. And then look at this shit here. This is how things changed in our lifetimes, and this is not so far apart, 2005 to 2022. What the fuck are those things on the right hand side there? And then you get a creep like this. This thing should be in an asylum, not running free in the streets. Look at that cock. That is what she did to her tongue. And I'm gonna step off this now with this, giving you this parting thought. Mum carries baby for her son and his husband. What the actual fuck is that? How sick is a society where this is actually getting publication instead of landing the people in jail? So, it's a Sunday. I'm sorry about being so negative today, but that's a reality. And I'm going to say again, find your tribe. You are going to need support from people around you. because the fight that is on our doorstep is going to be a brutal fight. But again, take note, those of us that will be fighting, our opponents are a fucking lot of gender confused soy boys and stupid women that think they are powerful until they need to defend themselves against real power. Not memes, not messages on WhatsApp, not posts on Twitter. Real physical confrontation. That is their future. Unfortunately, we have to think hard about this, because if we want our children to survive, we will have to take the fight to the cretins. Have a great day. Please like and subscribe. And it is a Sunday. You must braai today.